Hey you guys, I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. So there's just been something on my heart that I wanted to share with you guys. So I've been reading in First Corinthians, and in a couple places what it talks about is it mentions being fools for Christ, and also how the things of God are foolish to the world or to the people in the world because they're only discerned or understood by the Spirit of God. So if they don't have the Spirit of God, they can't understand the things of God. And so God just revealed to me that that is a foolish faith. And an example that he showed me was in David and Goliath, where David and his 5 stones, he ended up defeating Goliath. But do you know how foolish David looked to everyone that was watching, to all the spectators? He looked so foolish. And I bet people were thinking, what is he about to do with those 5 stones? But ultimately he ended up defeating Goliath, and that because he had a foolish faith. And that's the type of faith that God calls us to operate. He calls us to operate in a foolish faith. He calls us, and ultimately when you think about it, everything about what we believe is foolish. As Christians, as followers of Christ, as disciples of Christ, we believe that Jesus Christ, Son of God, Son of Man, was born of a virgin. Do you know how foolish that sounds? Like, if y'all haven't realized, that's scientifically impossible, okay? So to the world, we look so foolish because that is one of the things that we believe. We also believe that Jesus Christ rose from the dead after 3 days. He was resurrected from the grave. And so that's scientifically impossible as well. That's foolish faith. But again, that's the faith that God calls us to operate in. He wants us to be foolish enough to believe that we can do all things through Christ. He wants us to be foolish enough to believe that in spite of what the doctor has said, that we are healed by Christ's stripes. He wants us to be foolish enough to believe that he is our provider, that every need is met regardless of what the bank account says. He wants us to be foolish enough to believe that in a generation where everyone is having sex and sex is on TV and sex on the radio and sex in the music and sex is idolized. He wants to be foolish enough to believe that we can be abstinent and abstain from sex before marriage. He wants us to be foolish enough to believe that marriage still works and it can still be done in a godly way in a generation where people are giving up on marriage. The divorce rate has only gone down because people have given up. They stopped getting married. They're cohabitating now. He wants to be foolish enough to believe that we can start that business, that we can start that book with no experience. He wants you to believe that you can make a difference in the world, that we can change the world. He wants us to believe that we can be saved, that our family can be saved, that our generation can be saved. He wants us to be foolish enough to believe in these things that he's called us to press towards. And honestly, you guys, it's gonna look foolish to the world. That's the faith that he wants us to operate in. He wants us to operate in a foolish faith. Not everyone's gonna understand. And that's something that you really have to just come to terms with, because a lot of times we tell people and we want them to understand. We want them to, for it to just be enough when we says, hey, God told me to do this. But not everyone's going to understand. Again, if they do not have the Spirit of God, they can't discern and understand the ways of God and the heart of God and the mind of God. So I just want to encourage you guys today to continue to operate in a foolish faith and continue to live by faith and not by sight, like he's called us to do. And you guys just have a wonderful day. Stay foolish.